Donald Trump has never been more panicked than he is right now. And we know what Donald Trump does when he panics. He lies, he fearmongers, he tries to make you afraid, he tries to distract you, he tells you to look over there. And that is what Donald Trump so desperately wants you to do amid his Epstein scandal, which is why he just made a shock-breaking announcement from the Oval Office. Yes, a surprise video posted by Donald Trump as he freaks out over his Epstein scandal. It is clear that the White House is in shambles right now as this Epstein scandal is on the verge of just ending Donald Trump's term entirely. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into that shock announcement that Donald Trump just made, showing how much he is completely panicking, I want to start with what should make him panic even more, and that is new Epstein releases coming soon. Robert Garcia broke it all down right here.
We reviewed the whole document transcript that got sent to us last night, and we have been pushing James Comer and the Republicans every single step of the way to do the right thing. We demanded Alex Acosta to come in front of the committee. That's going to happen in just over a week. We forced a subpoena vote in a committee for a release of the full files. Their leadership did not support that. We made them vote and get there. We are the ones that demanded the Epstein estate book and the documents, and we finally got it. The truth is that James Comer and the oversight Republicans have no idea how to deal with an aggressive, next-generation, forceful oversight committee that is going to work every single day to get the truth. And they are up against a force on that committee that is right now focused on censoring the victims, getting justice, and bringing the fire every single day. Donald Trump needs to understand that we will not rest until we get justice and the truth comes out.
The Democratic Party for so long has needed fearless leadership like we've seen displayed from people like Robert Garcia, Jasmine Crockett, Ro Khanna, not only actually getting shit done, getting files released, but beating the Epstein drum all day and all night. There has not been a day or a moment that I haven't seen one of those three Democrats, whether it be on mainstream media or in the independent media, talking about this Epstein scandal as every Democrat should be all the time. And more information, more files are going to be made public even before Democrats retake the House and are able to completely blow up Donald Trump's term with not just subpoenas of these documents, but subpoenaing members of his administration to testify under oath over their cover-up. And the cover-up has not been going well even today as Donald Trump tried to spin this lie about his signature that Greg Kazar broke down right here before we get into the big announcement.
And she said, as I have said all along, it's very clear President Trump did not draw this picture and he did not sign it. President Trump's legal team will continue to aggressively pursue litigation.
Well, look, when Donald Trump said first this didn't exist, and then we found it, and now he's saying he didn't sign it, his signature just looks just like his own signature. It's like the bank robber who's caught with a bag full of cash and says, I'm not the one who robbed the bank. I mean, everyday Americans just aren't going to keep on buying these sorts of excuses, and we're going to keep investigating this case, not just to have transparency around the president, but transparency around any powerful person in this country.
Donald Trump and all of MAGA trying to justify the false claim that he is not best buddies with Jeffrey Epstein by saying that his signature doesn't look right in a letter in which he signed with a signature that is his, not only shows how little they have to respond to this scandal, but I just have to keep saying this, how stupid they think everyone who supports them is. If you are a Republican voter, Donald Trump thinks that you are a moron. Plain and simple. You see farmers right now across the country praying to God that Donald Trump will lift his tariffs because they understand how bad they are, and Donald Trump is going to keep on telling them that I'm going to save your farms and I'm the only one who can do it. And if you believe that, you've kind of got it coming. That is just the long and the short of it. And that is what Donald Trump wants to do right now with this shock announcement that he made, distract from the Epstein files on an issue he really shouldn't be talking about. But let's get into it. Stop this madness. Trump calls for vicious law and order after Charlotte train murder. Donald Trump on Tuesday called for law and order to counteract the senseless crime infecting Democrat-run cities like Charlotte, North Carolina, where the president said liberal policies allowed a deranged monster to recently take the life of a Ukrainian refugee, and we can see Trump spouting off in this clip right here.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities.
So this has now become the obsession of the right-wing media, and of course, this was an absolute tragedy. But you cannot get me to believe that Donald Trump or any member of the MAGA movement or any mouthpiece in the MAGA media actually cares. These are people who have watched the senseless slaughter of the Ukrainian people and haven't cared, have in fact fallen in line with the talking points hand-delivered by the Kremlin to their dear leader to be spouted off, and then just repeated them again and again and again. Now, of course, this was a tragedy, but does Donald Trump care? No, he doesn't care about crime or innocent lives. He won't even address, speak to, or think about the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, the survivors who bravely told their stories outside of the Capitol. So don't try to sell me this line of bullshit that Donald Trump is all worried about crime. He wants to fearmonger, one, so he can get you distracted from him and Epstein's crimes, but two, because Donald Trump knows how weak he looks right now and wants to play the tough guy. But on top of that, it is also important to track the police state that Donald Trump is trying to create and has, in many instances, successfully created in the United States. And not only that Trump is doing this to consolidate his authoritarian movement, but the players who are making millions and billions of dollars as Trump does so. The private prison industry, Palantir, and the man who built J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel. The surveillance state is not just a way for Donald Trump to make sure that he can inflict pain on anyone who will speak out against the regime, but it is also a way to make the richest men in our country who back Donald Trump even richer. It is terrifying what these big surveillance companies are ready to do for Donald Trump. And Rachel Maddow broke down more of that right here.
2025 this spring, reporting from Italy showed that spyware made by Paragon was turning up on the phones of immigration activists and at least one journalist and a friend of Pope Francis. Again, the company's called Paragon. The Biden administration last year stopped that company's contract with ICE. And that made a lot of sense when they did that in 2024. It made sense to stop that contract in 2024. It might make sense in 2025 for the U.S. government to still not have contracts with firms like that, right? I mean, under American principles like the right to privacy and free speech and peaceful protest and the Fourth Amendment prohibitions against unreasonable search and seizure, no-click spyware that can surveil everything about you without you knowing, it doesn't make that much sense for our government to have that kind of power. We don't want that stuff turning up on the phones of people in our country, right? Well, I said this was a heads-up kind of segment. Here's the headline that gives us all the heads up on this. Quote, ICE reactivated its $2 million contract with Israeli spyware firm Paragon. This reporting from tech journalist Jack Polson was soon confirmed by Wired, and then it was confirmed by the Washington Post. And it does appear that the Trump administration has decided to reactivate the contract with that spyware company. The Washington Post reports that it's not clear why the contract has been reactivated or what exactly happens next or what ICE is going to do with this type of technology. The Post was unable to get comment from the company in question. But this company makes total surveillance technology of a type that has been linked to some of the scariest human rights abuses in the developed world. And of course, the news that Trump wants ICE to have it comes just as the Supreme Court has given the go-ahead for the Trump administration to restart roving immigration patrols in Los Angeles, in which ICE admits they're going after people on the basis of their ethnicity. It comes just as the Trump administration announces a new immigration blitz in the great city of Chicago. I mean, yeah, with what Trump is having ICE do and the possibility of ICE having access to this kind of technology, what could possibly go wrong, right? Set yourself a news alert on this company, Paragon. On this one, you are definitely going to want to watch this space.
If Democrats cannot build a message against this type of technology and this type of overreach from the federal government, I do not know what we are doing. This should be an issue we talk about 24/7. This is terrifying. That the man who bought J.D. Vance's entire political career, who kind of owns his soul, whatever is left of it, Peter Thiel, a former CIA operative, has now launched a company raking in the government contracts to surveil you in every aspect of your life, as Donald Trump makes it very clear that he will go after whoever he wants, whenever he wants, for whatever reason. And the Supreme Court not only gave Donald Trump carte blanche to racially discriminate and to go after people of color simply for being people of color, to jail them, to kidnap them, to steal them off the streets because Donald Trump doesn't like the way that they look, the language that they speak, who their friends are. Do you think that just applies to Donald Trump's racist policies? If the Supreme Court is telling Donald Trump that he can go after people if they violate some version of making Trump uncomfortable, at what point do we get to the un-American activities are now worthy of you being kidnapped? If you are speaking out against Trump in a way that upsets or disrupts the regime, then Donald Trump will come for you. I don't want to sound conspiratorial here, but we've already seen the kidnappings for people simply speaking out against our tax dollars funding a genocide in Gaza, speaking out against Donald Trump and his attacks on the Constitution. So I don't think this is conspiratorial. I think this is important, and we're going to continue to talk about it on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.